So, you see that until now we have covered 4 sutras. Look at it. What is that? Ati Yoga Anushashanam. Yoga is discipline and education of the mind. So when you are thinking, when you are repeating after listening through the audios, and then you start contemplating. Yoga is discipline and education of the mind. But what yoga is? Yoga is the highest state of mindfulness. But what is mindfulness? So normally we talk about it is emptiness. So I will take you to that emptiness. So now, okay, emptiness. So emptiness means that mind should not contain any of its object. Now, what did you learn? That this mind lives in 5 subjective states. Mind is dreaming of a heaven, it is obsessed. Mind is alternating the thoughts in the images, wandering state. Okay. And the mind is, you know, the mind is totally obsessed with some fancies and imagination, the murha. Oh, these states cannot achieve mindfulness. Now you see, you are contemplating. What will happen one day that you become aware of the very classification of these subjective states of the mind? We are going little deeper. So I'm summarizing the 4 sutras. So what is going to happen? You are at your workplace, you are talking to your employees, huh? You are discussing something serious, and at the same time you become aware, oh, it's a wandering state, let me hold on. Return to the 4th state of one-pointedness. Why? So 2 things will happen. When you return to one-pointedness, it will help you at your work. At the same time, the mind will get an idea that I have to live in one-pointedness in order to succeed in meditation. That is how the contemplation should work in your life. You're talking to your honey, and the mind has some obsession, it wants to express it, and you hold on to it. No, only 2 states. I want to live only in 2 states. You see, that is how it should work. What I said, contemplation and reflection. Then I'm thinking, contemplating. So, what is the second sutra? Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is emptying the mind of its content. Have you ever thought of what do you mean by emptiness? We simply say, okay, emptiness. No, I understood. We have to reflect on this emptiness. I'll come to that emptiness later. And then what happens? In the entire Buddha meditation, what we say? Emptiness, nothingness. Yeah, we all know it. We have read it. We have Googled it. Right? Emptiness, nothingness. So when you follow the principles of the Buddha, they say, I am nothingness. They don't believe in the entity which is I. It's not a question of belief. We are not followers, we are seekers. But Patanjali goes a step further. Did you contemplate on this? Yoga, mindfulness is emptying the mind of its content. So then the 3rd sutra, what it says, when you empty the mind of its content, when there is a state of nothingness, I see that nothingness. Buddha says only nothingness. You are no more. he stops there. Patanjali says, no, I witness nothingness. And who is this I? That I is my real self. Are you getting it? That I is my real nature. So still there are two things. I witness nothingness, I see nothingness. In Buddha, only nothingness. Forget about I. In Patanjali, we say yes. So he begins with that I witness that nothingness. Do you see that? Now go to the fourth. When you do not live in a meditative state, this mind take you to the path of the craziness by engaging you into the first three states. I give you one example. When
On the
this
website dictionary.com, they say, one of a number of things, or a part of something, taken to show the character of the whole. This painting is an example of his early work. A pattern or model, as of something to be imitated or avoided, to set a good example.
this is
To find out
wandering
more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
This is wandering mind. You see, this is how it happens. The mind is following a specific path, and your mind returns to that kind of an wandering state. So what we were talking, that when we do not live into that state of emptiness, then the mind goes back to the first three states. One of them is, what is that? One of them? When this mind is totally absorbed into the body, it gives you a sense of forgetfulness mind. On the other hand, you get an idea that I'm in meditation. When you get a shock, all the thought stops. When you feel too much tired, the mind goes into the body. So we have to recognize these subtle states of the mind. One example. So now the fourth one. Now understand, when we say nothingness, when we follow the path of the Buddha, we are nothingness. What does it mean? Take an example. You sink into an ocean. Now you do not return. You don't recognize yourself. There is no I, nothingness. What is what Patanjali says? Third sutra. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Then, in the second stage of meditation or mindfulness, I see that nothingness. I witness that nothingness. So you see that I'm using the same emptiness and nothingness in three stages. And what is the third stage? Because our mind has been recognizing the waves in the ocean are separate. But now I don't see that separation. That is the climax of meditation. So you see that you use the emptiness in all the three stages, three steps. So Buddha's emptiness stops there, nothingness. Let me give you, I'm just out of a joke. Let me give you anesthesia. Your brain stops working. Is that mindfulness? That happens in the second subjective state of the mind. The mind gets totally obsessed with one thing. It is absorbed into the body. You don't have a thought. That is also nothingness. So our master says, no, we have to continue the journey. We have to continue the journey. So Patanjali clarifies, I see, I witness. This is my real nature. It is pure consciousness. Nothingness was a means to an end. In Buddhist meditation, nothingness is an end. Do you see that? So that is how the Buddha explains the 5 states of the mind. That is why I always say, please contemplate, reflect on this. The more and more you contemplate, just, as if you start thinking with eyes closed. Okay, what are these 4 sutras says? But what is going to happen in the ultimate, the climax? That nothingness has no existence. Why? It acts like a wave. It has no existence. Only the pure consciousness, the real self, that exists, and that real self is made up of pure consciousness, truth, love, and wisdom. Oh, I am permanent peace. I am love. Will you seek love outside? I am the wisdom. Do you seek any knowledge outside? See that. I am the truth. So nothingness in the ultimate journey becomes a means to an end. In the beginning, it is an end. Again, that end becomes a means. Oh, let me see that nothingness. That is what we see in the Saturday's session with that teaching. Are you getting it? That we do not understand, we do not want to understand. Nothingness, okay, nothingness. As if nothingness is my smartphone. No, I got it. It will not work. Then we cannot go deeper into meditation. So once we are clear that out of the 5 subjective states of the mind, only the 2 subjective states of the mind can take me to the journey of meditation. That is one-pointedness. And the one-pointedness of the mind means here that we become a seeker. Seeker. 1 point only. How I become a seeker? When I know what is discernment, when I know what is dispassion, when I know I can enter into calmness, I can withdraw my mind, I know the difference between the sense organs are absorbed into the objects and sense organs are withdrawn from the objects. When I know what exactly is the faith, that faith comes naturally. I have a clarity, I have a conviction in my mind. This is the meaning of one-pointedness. So normally you see that if you do not contemplate, what will happen? I know one-pointedness, my mind is constantly wandering. I cannot focus my mind. So then we talk of a concentration of psychology. In psychology, we have oscillation of attention and we say we have concentration. There are only 2 states in modern psychology. Oscillation of attention means wandering mind, and focus. Focus on one object at the same time you are struggling to keep other objects at bay. Lara knows in psychology. We talk about only 2 states. So here the one-pointedness is totally different. So just think of it. Oh, we have to, this is what the nothingness, I see the nothingness. Now I see that nothingness is nothing but the waves. I am an ocean. So it is an integral part of my mind. I need not to worry it. I can enter into that state at any time, at will, with my awareness. Then what happens? You are living, you are working in meditation. So, how to achieve that What are the lot of stuff that we have to undergo from experiencing the nothingness, actual nothingness. And I will take up that later, slowly, something I remember. So once you start the journey of meditation, the Patanjali says that that glimpse of nothingness, you undergo the four stages, in which these four stages are known as sampragyat samadhi, sampragyat meditation. You see gross objects. You have been talking to me about your experiences. So when you see the physical objects clearly, it is one stage. When you see the subtle objects, it becomes the second stage. When you experience, no, I don't want to talk, I'm totally absorbed in the joy, ananda. The joy without object, joy. I know I saw an object full of joy. I saw, no, you just take an example that I joy of looking at the moon, joy of looking at, I see the image of my honey. Only the joy takes the dominance. Another stage of meditation. And then what happens? In the fourth stage, you see that I am alone. I don't want to talk. I want to remain in quietness and silence. That is another stage. So now, as we progress into this journey, we will recognize all these four stages of mindfulness and meditation. And then the fifth stage comes, which is known as asampragyat samadhi. Asampragyat means without any object. So you get a glimpse of nothingness. What I explained, nothingness of Buddha, I witness nothingness, and now nothingness is just an appearance. You see? So what happens as you go through four more stages, and at last, what happens? Why you are talking of nothingness? It is a wave, and I am an ocean. I am the seer. There's nothingness is also a wave. The moment, the wave, the thought is a wave. This nothingness is a wave. Then you live, work, and play in that state of mindfulness. Are you getting it? So one has to contemplate and reflect. Last thing, contemplate. So how do you contemplate and reflect? Through the words. Words gives us a knowledge. What is a word? It is a thought. Thought is a product. It is a concept. Concept is a product of knowledge. But here the master adds viveka, discernment. So when you contemplate and reflect, what happens? The word, the thoughts remain at the physical level, and by the discernment, you enter into that knowledge in your mind. Then that knowledge takes the first three states of the mind at bay. You instantly recognize, oh no, I don't want to keep my mind into that state. Done. So you start moving your mind into the fourth and the fifth state, and that takes you into a meditative state, even when you are talking, even when you are living. And that is why we have been doing what we have been doing, that mantra. What is mantra? Mantra is also a word, it's a knowledge. So we want to extract that knowledge from the world. And that knowledge decolors the mind from its anxiety, wandering state, and suffering. Are you getting it? I'm trying to explain everything logically. I'm not talking of any God or a cult and a dogma and a belief. Remember, if you do practice one type of meditation, that is also true. One can achieve, but it becomes a cult. When we do different practices of meditation, we break that notion that this is the only way. There are hundreds and thousands of ways. No, don't be so serious. Let us start. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. So, close your eyes. Let us start our journey of meditation.